Bitcoin is a decentralized electronic currency. It is not controlled by a corporation or government, and it is not backed by any physical good or promise other than the transparent rules it follows, as coded into the Bitcoin protocol. Depending on how you look at it, Bitcoin can also be described as a virtual commodity, a payment system, a network, software, or an industry. Bitcoin is used to send value over the internet. Other electronic financial systems, such as online banking or PayPal, use account numbers and passwords to identify and authenticate their users. Bitcoin uses cryptographic keys and signatures, called a public and private key pair. Bitcoin are transferred by signing messages with your private keys. The message is passed on to the network, which is immediately able to verify whether the account holder exists, has enough Bitcoin, and successfully attached a valid signature. To create a Bitcoin account, you only need to run software on a smartphone or computer. Anybody can create as many accounts as they want anonymously and at no cost. Nobody can stop you from creating an account. This permissionless system makes it impossible for anyone to deliberately slow down or restrict innovation and commerce. Bitcoin servers are spread around the globe, and anyone can join the Bitcoin network by simply running software on their computer. It is important that everyone at all times has the opportunity to validate rules, like the total limit of Bitcoin and whether transactions are appropriately signed. Joining the network should be possible anonymously and without much cost, bandwidth requirements, or effort. Bitcoin transactions are recorded on a shared ledger called a blockchain. Anybody can verify and download this ledger and use it to check and calculate their own Bitcoin holdings, as well as how many Bitcoin there are in total. The blockchain is amended every 10 minutes on average through a process called mining. In the process of Bitcoin mining, participants propose amendments to the blockchain by issuing new blocks that are limited in size. They are incentivized to be honest by having to attach a cost in the form of electricity to each block. By using an energy-intensive algorithm, miners find rare numbers. The rarer a number is, the more electricity they must use to find it. In exchange for the costs the miners incur, they are rewarded with newly created Bitcoin and transaction fees. This creates an active exchange market for Bitcoin because the miners have to find buyers for the Bitcoin in order to pay their electricity bills. This system also keeps miners honest. If the block that they propose is rejected for violating the rules, they would still have to pay for the electricity costs incurred, but would receive no reward. As transactions are passed along the network, they are still unconfirmed. Only once a miner includes a transaction in the block, it is considered confirmed. Once another miner has added another block on top, the transaction is considered to have two confirmations. The more confirmations a transaction has, the less likely it is to be invalidated. To incentivize a miner to include your transaction, you will have to pay them a fee. Adding no or too small a fee means that a transaction could take hours or days to confirm when the network is experiencing congestion, because miners are not incentivized to include your transaction. When this happens, the Bitcoin is still yours, and you can spend them again to the same or a different recipient with a higher fee. Once a transaction is confirmed, other transactions using the same inputs are invalidated. Depending on the value of the transaction, it is appropriate to wait for 1 to 6 confirmations, which can take 10 to 60 minutes. Bitcoin miners create Bitcoin not out of thin air, but by performing energy-intensive calculations. They sell these coins to people who want to invest or send money to anywhere around the globe. Anybody can cheaply run the Bitcoin software and verify the integrity of the system, as well as make transactions. Nobody controls Bitcoin. Neither the miners nor the developers can force anybody to change the rules, and they cannot stop you from using it. Like the internet, Bitcoin is becoming an important tool for individual empowerment.